Hello everyone, welcome back here to AGBCars. I am Aaron Bell, and today we will be talking about Mr. Ecclestone, the leader, the man who's in charge of Formula One, the sport, involving, well, about everything that comes with it. Focusing today on a statement that was made earlier in this week. Now this it was pretty much one of the worst things I've ever read in my life, to be honest. It was an interview with Autosport's sister publication, magazine, I suppose, called Campaign Asia Pacific. And in it, Ecclestone has asked serious questions on how F1 needs to interact with a younger audience. So I'm just going to talk a bit about this now and give you some of my my views on what he said and about what I feel about them. So as we all know, F1 right now is in a bit of a state, if you will. All the TV audiences are down. Everyone hates the new cars, the new engines. They're too quiet, they're turbos, the cars are too easy to drive, Mercedes is winning too much. There's controversy over the two teams, Cater and Marussia, leaving the sport. We don't know where the drivers are going, if Alonso is going to go out of the sport for a year, whether the Honda will be good next year. So this is a time where F1 is in a little bit of a rough patch. And so, as I said, the TV audiences around the world are down, as well as sales to actual race events. If you remember the German Grand Prix this year, 2014, was had atrocious attendance figures. So, well, this is in the interview now. Ecclestone was asked about how the young people should how F1 should reach out to the younger audience, to which he replied, now this is the 84-year-old leader of Formula One. He says that F1 does not need to reach out to a younger audience through social media and the likes. He says, and this is a quote, "I am not interested in tweeting, Facebook, or whatever this nonsense is. I tried to find out once, but in any case I'm too old-fashioned and I couldn't see any value in it." And he says he doesn't know what the so-called young generation of today really wants. Okay, Bernie, so he said that social media is of no value in reaching out to Formula One. Okay, wrong. He tried to find out, but he said, "I'm too old-fashioned." Now, I agree with you there, with you on that one, Bernie. You're an 84-year-old man. You've been in the world of Formula One since 1945. Now, I don't know, but I think it's time for you to leave, because you are now admitting that that you are too old to run the sport and to see it for what it really is. And then he also says about the brand and the sponsors that come with it, and he says here that if you want me to branch out into a 15-year-old and get him to watch Formula One because someone wants to put out a new brand in front of them, they will not be interested. And that is something that I think that just shows you the kind of the mindset that Mr. Ecclestone is in. He really has just lost it and has no consideration and no understanding of what the sport really is anymore. Anyone asks him here about we need to bring in young people, he immediately assumes, right, why? Because you want them to buy the products that are being advertised at the circuits and that are sponsoring me. And no, that's not it, Bernie. It's because the young people are the future of Formula One. They will be the ones in the grandstands in 20 years. They will be the ones in the cars, in the stands. They will be the ones making the cars. They will be the ones. They will be the cameramen and the journalists at the circuit reporting. So, if they are not involved now, and if no one gets into the sport of Formula One young as a interest, there will not be a Formula One sport in years' time. He says young kids will see the Rolex brand, but they will not buy it because they can't afford it. And no, Bernie, it's not about that. It's about the sport. It's about the spectacle of motor racing. It's about the excitement, the smell of fumes, the burning rubber, the fantastic passes that Hamilton pulled off against Rosberg around the outside of Turn 1 at Suzuka. That's what Formula One is about. It's not about getting people to buy money so you get more money in your pocket, which is all he seems to care about now. He says they haven't got enough money to put in banks, like UBS is another sponsor to Formula One, and well, if a 15-year-old sees an ad for that, they won't use that because they haven't got enough money to put in a bank. And then he went on to say, why do they want to do that? Talking about why they want to get young people involved. And he says, is it to sell them something? Most of these kids haven't got any money. No, it's not about wanting to sell them something. It's about getting children involved and getting them interested in the sport, in the what could be the best sport in on the planet. As it's fast, it's exciting, it's noisy, it smells good, it's just a spectacle. Well, it was anyway. And he's only interested now, I think, in the money he gets from the sponsors. Now, this is a man who's worth over 6 billion. 6 billion euro. Now, I don't know, but I really, really don't think he needs any more money where he is now. I think he doesn't care about the sport. He's just so one-minded. He doesn't think he comes out with things, giving the most vague answers, not answering the questions, not explaining anything into why he feels anything and why. Like, this article is really just one of the worst things I've ever read, and just proves that he really has lost it and needs to just go now. Because if he's around in 10 years, which he won't be, but the sport of Formula One will be like 3-cylinder, 1.8 litre with 200 turbochargers on them because they're more eco-friendly and they won't cost as much and all this. And then finally, he was also asked in this interview about the Caterham and Marussia situation at the moment. They were obviously out. Well, Marussia is actually out, but Caterham announced recently that they will be taking part in the season finale at Abu Dhabi after raising an astonishing 1.9 million from crowd support from a donation online. But Marussia does seem to be gone. And as he was asked about them, he says nobody will miss these two teams because they're not front-running teams, and they've only got a name that people will know because of the problem they are in. Which again goes with the saying with the argument that he does not care about F1, about the people in it, about the people watching it at home. As well, what he'd be happy with is 2 Ferraris, 2 Mercedeses, and the 2 McLarens, 2 Red Bulls on the track, because saying that the small teams are not important to Formula One is, well, it's like saying that small cars aren't aren't of any use in real life, and that everyone should drive a Mercedes S-Class or a Rolls Royce or whatever. It's just nonsensical, and yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's what I think. Yeah. So, Mr. Ecclestone, I just think you really need to go. So yeah, that's my analysis, I suppose, on that article. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.